Alright, hi everyone. We got our clutch back again. This is the second time we're gonna be installing this thing. Came from South Bend. See, nice flywheel and everything else. This they came with the previous setup of this clutch. Yeah. So what happened is we put it in, and the clutch was slipping at around 25 to 30% throttle, like regular driving, not launching, bidding or anything like that, just regular driving. But 25-30% throttle, it would start slipping really badly. So what the South Bend said is that it's an installer's error. So we had to send the clutch out to a different company to test the clutch. Apparently what happened is this nice and pretty red pressure plate looks like it was just a original stock pressure plate from an Audi 90. There was nothing done to it except for the red paint on it. That's about it. We had the clutch rebuilt. They built us a new clutch disc. They redid the pressure plate. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, here's our new clutch disc, 6-pack. Oh. We'll see how that's gonna go. Yeah, by the way, the company measured the original, well, not original, supposedly performance clutch pressure plate that we got from South Bend. Had only 1,400 pounds of pressure on the clutch disc. So we got our clutch back together. Make sure you use the alignment tool. You don't want to have problems putting the transmission back under the car. And we're gonna install it back into the transmission and see how that is gonna work now. Lubricate just a little bit the surfaces where the bearing's gonna be riding. Install the taillight bearing, make sure it's installed properly and operating like it should be. We put the clutch assembly back in. Yep. Put the exhaust shaft back in. And put the flange bolts back in. Alright, it's all set to go. We're gonna put the transmission back into the car. Alright, so we're gonna need to bring the motor up a little so it sits in the angle to match the angle of the transmission. This is probably gonna be the trickiest part, to get the transmission onto the engine and bolt it down. You see, when you're raising the transmission up, do not make sure there's nothing getting caught in between the transmission and an engine, and make sure you're not breaking anything off. our goal is to approximately align the bolt holes, and then make sure you get the center shaft, the actual piece that sticks out of a flywheel, onto the clutch. Just observe the engine on the transmission and make sure the angle on the transmission and the engine, and make sure you're matching those two angles up. Do not force the transmission onto the engine. When you're gonna be in the right spot, it's just gonna clip on. There is always two alignment pins. See one over there? You can barely see it. And one on the other side. So make sure you align those. Alright, so see, this is what you're looking for. The transmission is not bolted, it's just sitting there, but it's all the way in on the engine. Do not ever try to bring the transmission closer up to the engine with the bolts. You will break something, either engine or transmission. Make sure your transmission is in all the way before you put any bolts into it. Now we're gonna need to align and put the starter motor back in. Gets a little tricky, because if you can really, it's not really a lot of space in there. The top bolt on the starter is pretty hard to see. You pretty much have to put her in by feeling. Yeah, like I said, it's gonna be kind of tricky to get this. Now tighten the lower bolt. And one on bolting under transmission. Okay, put all the bolts in. Make sure you match the bolts to where they came out of. If you put a too long of a bolt, you will break something. If you put a too short of a bolt, it won't be tight enough. So, and most likely some other place is gonna have a too long of a bolt, so you're gonna have a problem with that. So make sure you put the bolts in exactly where to the places where it came out of. Now these two are gonna be the most pain to put them in. Use a 0-long extension of the swivel and do it from the back of the transmission. Yep. It's pretty tight in there, so good luck. There you go. Alright, now I could begin putting out the linkages and everything else onto the transmission. Make sure you route the wiring properly so it doesn't get ripped off while you're driving. The shifter only goes in one way. You don't have to worry about misaligning the shifter. No, don't forget to put the clip on the shift linkage. Yep. I'll put the swave cylinder back in. Make sure you put all these rubber grommets onto the cylinder properly. Make sure you align the swave cylinder to the fork properly. That would be a good idea to install the exhaust mounts now before you raise the transmission up and put the mounts on the transmission. Now, don't forget to bolt the flywheel down to the flex plate on the engine. You're gonna need to align those holes on the flywheel with the threaded holes in the flex plate. You need to turn the engine and put them all in, and then tighten them. Don't tighten them before you put all the bolts in. Just put the bolts in by hand as far as you could go, and then move on to the next hole. Make sure to put all the bolts in before you start tightening them. And make sure you put them in as far as you could go, because otherwise they're gonna be hitting the axle shaft, and you're gonna need to spin the engine backwards and screw them in a little more.